this plant we're here with is Yarrow, or what is the Latin name?
Achillea melanifolia.
Which is a great plant, super useful. It has astringent qualities. It's good for using for colds, flus, face washes. You can use it in your eye, a tea of it. You can use it in your eye to prevent and treat styes. You can use it to stop bleeding. You could take it internally as a tea for many different conditions for the sickness, but then also to shed bad blood that your body may not have gotten rid of, especially for women. And as far as growing this plant, super easy to grow. It comes up on its own here. It's a native plant on our land, but many people do not have yarrow. But you can look around to notice the nice ferny like leaves, and then the flower. And there are horticultural varieties that are grown to have very striking flowers, reds. They look very pretty. They are not as medicinal. Also, plants that grow super big and lush in very rich soil may not be as medicinal as smaller plants in not as good, grown in not as good soil. So we found that you could grow this in any type of soil. It's hardy to very cold, minus 20, minus 30 at least. I think you've never lost a plant here, where we are in Virginia, of course. And it seeds out on its own. So the flowers will go to seed, and then it can seed out on its own.
And you see here, you have little ones coming up right in front. The little feathery leaves, those are little baby yarrows. That'll be.
It can transplant easy. And then as far as harvesting it, you can take some of these leaves that have not grown up with the flowering stalk. Those are fine. And then you can also harvest the flowering stalk. You can cut it down low. You can hang it up to dry. It is safe to use fresh as well, so you can use it in tea or tincture, fresh or dried. You can use it directly on your skin for bleeding wounds. Just break up the plant material a little bit, put it right over where you're bleeding. And then you can even take a few other leaves and wrap it around. Get it real thick on your wound or where you're literally dripping blood. It will stop. So that's a great use of it. Fantastic. And let's see. What else did you want to say about yarrow?
Well, one of the other cool things to note about yarrow, as far as this is one of the metaphysical uses, is that for medicine you don't want to use the yarrow stems. You use the flowers, the flowering tops, and the leaves. But the stems are hollow, and the stems were used as water witching rods. So another part of the amazing lore and history of the plant, Achillea melanifolia, again, the legend of Achilles being soaked in a tea to make himself.
And then didn't soldiers carry this on the battlefield?
Yeah, it was carried by soldiers in the battlefield and apparently Roman conflicts for its wound.
So they could have it to put directly on their bleeding wounds.
Right. And another thing to mention about it is, we're talking about cultivating. She mentioned the cultivated, the ornamental varieties, not as medicinal, but as a wild harvesting. This plant is abundant in the wild. And just to show you real quick how this is a wild plant, this is yarrow, but surrounded by it, we have in the plant community of plants volunteering themselves. This is Lobelia inflata, an amazing plant, a very powerful plant. Not one that we would get to into an intro herbal class because there can be some issues with that. Plantain is one. Almost everybody would have that in their yard. It's an amazing plant, a wellness tonic. It's great for bites and stings. Again, putting the poultice of the leaf on it. The seed head here, these seeds that pop off, this is very much related to your metamucil, which gives you that bulking factor. Over here we have hawthorn, which is good for the heart, which can be found in the wild. We have bee balm, bergamot, which has many amazing uses. So again, my point being that the wilds themselves offer us an abundance of food and medicine. We just have to be mindful and sustainable in our wild harvesting, our wild crafting, making sure we always have permission from landowners, permission from the plant itself. and that we're never taking more than we need or more than can be afford to be taken from a certain area. So give thanks, enjoy your wild crafting, one love.